Okay. All right, you guys, good morning. I want to introduce Grace.
Hello.
Grace, oh, there she is.
Hey.
Um, Grace is a barista down at the Sebastopol Cookie Company, and she's here today to talk to us about what it is to be a barista and what that looks like in the hospitality industry.
So hi, I'm Grace Wingard. I work at Sebastopol Cookie Company in Sebastopol on Main Street. It's right downtown Sebastopol, and there's like many ways you can describe a barista, but mainly I would describe it someone who makes coffee drinks. It's anything from like a cappuccino to a latte to regular coffee, or you can make special drinks. Just someone who makes drinks.
So before Grace was a barista, she had a couple other jobs in the hospitality industry. And the hospitality industry is any job that basically like welcomes people in. So in specifically in culinary, we'll talk about, restaurants and servers and bartenders and baristas and how we take care of people in that way. And so before Grace worked at Sebastopol Cookie Company, she worked at K&L Bistro as a busser and two other places. Grace, where else did you work?
I worked at K&L Bistro before COVID hit, and I worked at East West Cafe. That's also on the same street as Sebastopol Cookie Company. And
It's the storefront. So if you've ever been down in Sebastopol, they have their main street is called Main Street. And there are businesses, retail stores, restaurants, lots of different things that people can go down there and do. And the Sebastopol Cookie Company is right there near the corner, and they have a cute little spot. So there's a walk-up window where you can order your items, and then they'll serve you right out the window. And as you see, there's a cute little bistro table and places to sit. It's got such a cute little location in town.
so the first on the left right here is just kind of the barista station where we have the espresso machine or drip coffee, which is just normal coffee. And then we have a bunch of Tirani flavors, like I'm sure you guys know, of Italian sodas. So just we have a variety of Italian sodas, and we have our menu. I mean, our menu is located outside so people can see, but this is just like inside the store where we can only see just a bunch of like flavors and the teas and the Tirani flavors and the coffees and everything. So the display case is in our store, but since we have a big window, everyone can see it who's outside forming the line. So we have everything from scones to croissants to cookies, of course. And yeah, we have scones, croissants. Oh, and we do muffins too.
And what do you do any of the baking, Grace, or are you just coffee?
Actually, yes. So it's not just like I'm making coffee drinks. I'm also learning how to scoop the dough, what goes in the cookie mixes, to pressing the cookie dough, and yeah.
And so here you're looking from the inside window out. Now, if you were open besides COVID, would you have the cookies out and open like this, or is this just because of the situation we're in?
This is just because of COVID, and it's like we can only see it, and like kind of people pick through the window and they point and we get the cookies for them. But when it wasn't COVID, it was a lot different. It was kind of like you walk in. It was still kind of a display case, like you couldn't touch the cookie, but you could actually go into the store.
Here is Grace's crew. Tell us about the girls that we see in
So
here.
obviously there is a couple more girls that work at Sebastopol Cookie Company, but on the right, that is Amina. She is also a barista. In the middle, that is Maggie. She's mostly the baker, so she does most of the mixes and the cookies and the doughs. And then on the left, that is me, same thing, a barista.
So Grace, all three of you look fairly on the younger side. So, and that is important for me to have the students know, because it sounds like there are some of the employees who are still in school. And so this is the type of job that you could have if you were still in school.
Totally. Like it's really good with school. For example, if we have work, she's really flexible with hours, but if we want to work and we have a Zoom meeting for school, she has an office upstairs for us. So we get to go do our Zoom meeting. We just clock out. Next question is, what is the main job of a barista? Which I kind of covered. But the main job is just basically to focus on making drinks. Like a barista could be like lots of things. Like it could be like getting cookies or getting scones to just making drinks and really focusing on the art of the drink. We have a lot of different things. Like we have a lemon lavender lemonade, and it's really interesting how to make because we like meld the ice and lemon and lavender, and it turns out so beautiful when it's done.
And so can you name a couple of the coffee type drinks that you guys have?
Yeah, so our basic coffee is a cappuccino, which is 2 shots of espresso, and then foam, which you make it really foamy. That's a cappuccino. And then we have a normal latte with just milk, steamed milk, 2 shots of espresso. We also have drip coffee, double shot espresso, which is just 2 shots of espresso. And then kind of our fancy drinks, like we have a rosy oat hot chocolate. We have a white lavender lemonade. We have a white lavender hot chocolate. And we have a white lavender latte. So we have a lot of lavender incorporated things. We also have a thing called an elderflower sparkler, which is grapefruit juice, sparkling water, and then an elderflower syrup.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like not like the sugary syrups, like we use pretty high-end syrups.
How did you learn how to make all these drinks? Did you know how to do this before you got the job?
No, I knew how to make lattes and cappuccinos and double shot espresso. That's like the basics. But like when I saw all the menus and when people ordered that, I was like, oh God. But then it's like you make them every day, then you kind of learn how to do them, and then you have fun with them because you can make them really pretty.
So if somebody wanted to get a job as a barista, do you think that they would have to know how to do all of those things, or do you think a company would teach them?
Absolutely not. A company has to train you by law, and you can learn so easily. Like it's coffee. The owner gave me 5 days to train, and that was enough. And you can learn so much in those 5 days. And then like it's everything else. Like you do it every day, and you learn. And of course, I still make mistakes to this day, but you learn every day.
Because, you know, I talk a lot in cooking about making a mistake, and then you kind of reflect on it and you learn from it, and we're all human, and that's how we learn. So it's good to just be humble about that.
Yeah, those are scones that have not been put in the oven yet. So Maggie the baker just put in together the mix and scooped them. So they're about to go in the oven.
Scones are really simple to make, and then you can get very fancy with them.
Yes.
But scones are a really good breakfast thing to try because you just kind of throw it all together, give it a mix, don't over stir it, and then scoop them on like you see. Oh, this is the menu. So Grace took some pictures of the menu of the things that they have. So you'll see all of the coffee drinks down here, all the specialty drinks. I wish you were in Windsor, Grace, because when we get off the phone, if it weren't a closed day, I would want to go down and have some.
I know. That's so good.
What do you like about working in this industry so far?
Honestly, the people, the owner, everyone is so nice and kind, and I just love how it's in town in Sebastopol. Like, I just love Sebastopol, and I love the people that come in every day, and there's regulars that come in. And I love the vibe. Like, whenever I'm like, oh, I have to go to work, like, I get excited to go to work, and it's so fun making the drinks and seeing how customers react to like your art.
So, what do you see for your future now? Do you see yourself staying within this industry, or do you see yourself doing something else in the industry?
Definitely love the cookie company. We'll stay with them for probably 2 more years till I go up to college. But what I would love to do is probably be a hostess or a bartender in the future. I would love to go to bartending school. I think it's so cool how people make these fancy drinks and then people freak out because it's so pretty. And I just think it's such a cool thing. It's like art.
Yeah. Drinks of any type, like the ones that you're making now or the ones you may make at a future job, they're just so refreshing and always feel kind of like a treat, especially when there's a little bit extra love put into making them. So tell us about what a day at work looks like. So when you go to work, what's the first thing that you do?
So usually there's 2 shifts. You can do 8:30 to 1, or you can do 12 to close, which is like 12 to 5 or something. And I do both. So like a morning shift, I usually open. So I will get in, I will clock in on the iPad, and we have 3 chairs and tables that we set out and kind of in front. Since it's Main Street, it's really small, and we have to limit our space especially because Cafe is next to us.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'll set up the tables and chairs, wipe them off, and we have like a really cute sign that says Sebastopol Cookie Company, has a bunch of succulents in them, so I put that out there. And we have like a little dog bowl, so I'll put water in that. And then usually the baker's there, so Maggie is there, so she puts out the cookies, like that's her job. And then I make sure like the espresso machine's on and the water. So, because since of Corona, we have to have like Sani, like hot Sani, cold Sani. So for like the dishes and stuff. So I have to set
What
up.
does that mean? What does Sani mean, Grace?
Sani means sanitizer. So since of coronavirus, they're crazy strict. And if you're in a restaurant industry, you have to make sure that there is hot sanitized water, but also cold sanitized water.
And as part of just the service industry anyways, you always have to have a place for your guests to wash their hands and make sure that everything is really top hygiene, because as you guys know, we don't want any cross-contamination, we don't want any sharing of germs, and we need to make sure that we're taking care of each other. And that's regardless of what kind of health climate we're in. It's just part of the industry.
Right. So I will usually set up the sinks, and then, it only takes like 25 minutes to set up. It's really easy. Just tables, chairs, make sure the sinks are set up, make sure everything's put together, like the Torani flavors are in order. And yeah, it's very easy. And then people will start lining up like right away between like 8:55 and 9. 9 is when we open, and then we just start making drinks.
And then do you have any side work that you have to do at the end of your shift to get the next person ready, or are they doing that when they arrive?
It's so laid back in a way, kind of like someone will come in at like 1. Of course, I will make sure things are like stocked, because that's just like the right thing to do. So stocked meaning like cups, when the cups are low, making sure the cups are on the table, and lids and straws and Java jackets. Java jackets goes around the coffee when it's hot.
Yeah, so I think you've probably learned from your other jobs too, that when something needs to be done in the restaurant and you, or in the shop, and you have a free minute, you go and do that, because you never know when the next rush is going to happen, and you need to make sure you have all of your supplies and materials so that you're not, kind of struggling when there's a lot of guests in the shop.
Right. Basically from like closing, like any day from Sunday when we're going to be closed for 2 days to ever like on a Tuesday when we just need to close, take us about like an hour and a half.
That's a long time.
Yeah.
And what is the longest part of that? What are you guys spending most of your time doing?
A lot of them is dishes and making sure all the crumbs are swept off, because it's really important, since also we have the Torani flavors, because the ants, they love the sugar. We have to make sure that they're closed really tight, because ants will get in there, and then we have to throw them away, and then we lose money. So yeah.
Right. Yeah, and also anytime you are a business that serves food, you are overseen by the health department. And so the health department will come in sporadically,
right,
and annually, and they'll come in and check. And the things that they're looking for are exactly what Grace was talking about, making sure that the area that you're preparing food is clean, that your storage is clean, that things are not left out for ants and rodents specifically. So it's really important, because if the health department were to come in and see something out of place or not cleaned correctly, they would shut you down.
Yeah, it's so little things.
It's it can seem very strenuous and time consuming, but it's probably the most important part of the job.
Yeah, it is.
The final secret question, how did Grace and I meet? I would say probably she was a student at my school, although she wasn't my student. But so Grace and I actually met maybe 10-ish years ago.
Yeah, I was about 10 years old.
Yeah. So Grace, tell the students how we know each other.
So me and Mrs. Lands know each other because I went to Grevin. So I didn't actually have Mrs. Lands, but I had her really good friend, Mrs. Brown. And we went on a trip called Clem Miller. So Clem Miller is a thing at Gravenstein where you go on, I think when you're in 4th grade, every year. How do you describe it? It's just like...
Yeah, so at Gravenstein, I worked there for 5 years. I was at Windsor Middle School as my first teaching job, and then I worked at Gravenstein Elementary for 5 years, where I met my best teacher friend, and her name is Mrs. Brown. Our classrooms were next to each other, and we all shared our students. And Grace is wonderful and was so kind in being here with us today, and being the first, excuse me, the first guest, and which is good because I needed to practice how to get all this set up. And
it works out good, yeah.
Yeah. Well, Grace, thank you so much for being with us. We're so grateful to learn about your job as a barista. And do you have anything else that you want to share with the students?
I highly recommend you guys to probably get your job, like your first job, because it's a really good learning experience to have those like organization skills and priorities and those responsibilities, and it will definitely help you in the long run.
Well, I'm going to piggyback on what you're saying, because I would have to agree that any type of hospitality job really teaches you a lot more than just making coffee, although learning how to make coffee is such a gift for your whole life, because especially if you enjoy drinking it. But you're right, the hospitality industry, you learn how to work with others, teamwork, priorities, multitasking, how to be assertive and talk to people that you don't know. And then the one thing that I love about all jobs in hospitality is that they're very flexible to going to school. And so sometimes people get into hospitality because that's their goal. They want to own a coffee shop or a restaurant. And other times it's a means to an end. They're paying for their college degree, or they're working on some sort of other skill. And for both situations, jobs in hospitality are really flexible and accommodating for that. Grace, I loved having you.
Thank you.
So
I loved
much.
being here. It was so fun. I know. Welcome. Well, thank you guys so much. Have a wonderful day and the rest of your year.
Okay. Thanks, Grace. We'll talk to you soon.
See you later.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.